It won't. Oh, here it goes. Welcome to our house in beautiful Naples, Florida. I'm always thrilled when you connect with us for another amazing story unwrapped, where we are dedicated to the mission of encouraging and inspiring. I think you would agree with me that there's surely enough bad news out there. We live in an age of negativity where folks are more polarized than they've ever been before. It seems that so many folks in the media, especially the blogosphere, the Twitter world, other social media, are dedicated to tearing each other down. Cyberbullying in all of its forms is epidemic today. But we're here to give you a healthy dose of good news. Faith-affirming stuff that's designed to build you up. Put some hope in your heart, a spring in your step, and some steel in your resolve so that you can triumph over any and every adversity that comes your way. Now, maybe today, some of you feel like you're facing impossible odds. Your strength is petered out, and maybe you feel like things are pretty much hopeless. Listen, we've all been there. But today, I want to give a shout out to the concept of hope. More than that, the infinite possibilities of hope. Now, I don't know where you are spiritually today. I love you, whatever your religious affiliation, or even if you have none. But I believe that the God who created this immense universe is bigger than his limitless galaxies. Therefore, he's a God of limitless possibilities. Nothing is impossible for him. And if he's behind you, then his power is bigger than anything that is in front of you. But instead of me talking, I'm going to allow the story I'm about to unwrap today do the talking for me. I call it the infinite possibilities of hope. Sean knows what it's like to face the impossible. Twice, he beat unbeatable odds. At age 13, he came down with Hodgkin's disease. The doctors didn't think he would survive, but he did. When he was 16, he contacted Askins sarcoma, a rare cancer that attaches itself to the wall of the chest. The prognosis is never optimistic, and its treatment has horrific side effects. Now, Sean may be the only person alive to have suffered both of these cancers. For sure, no one has gotten them both at such a young age or in such a short span of time. Doctors say that the odds of him overcoming both were the equivalent of winning 4 lottery tickets in a row using the same numbers. He survived his second cancer by being put in a medically induced coma for a year. And at one point, his parents were told that he had only 2 weeks to live. A priest was called in to read him his last rites. When Sean miraculously came out of that coma, he had only one functioning lung. As he lay in his hospital bed, he was watching the Ironman World Triathlon Championship on television. At that moment, he vowed that he would one day compete in it. Now, his parents and his doctors chuckled. Sean was some kind of crazy dreamer. He should have been content to have cheated death and satisfied to live the rest of his life as a one-lunged invalid double cancer survivor. If he could eke his way through life without a wheelchair, he would be one lucky dude. But during those long months of painstaking recovery that followed, an oft-quoted line from a philosopher inspired the teenager to hope for better than what the doctors predicted for the rest of his life. This is the quote: "The human body can live roughly 30 days without food, 5 days without water, and 5 minutes without air. But no human alive can live a single second without hope." So Sean decided to test the infinite possibilities of hope. His first challenge was to crawl 8 feet from his hospital bed to the bathroom. That simple feat took him several gut-wrenching, gasping, wheezing attempts that spent literally every ounce of his energy and willpower. But amazingly, a few years later, Sean climbed to the top of 19,500-foot-high Mount Kilimanjaro in East Africa. But he hadn't yet begun to test the limits of the infinite possibilities of hope. Over the next several years, this cancer survivor with a single lung scaled the tallest mountain on each of the 7 continents. He became the first cancer survivor to stand atop the granddaddy of them all, 29,229-foot high Mount Everest, a monster that tests the limits of the world's greatest mountain climbers and destroys the best of them. Yet Everest could not stop one-lung Sean. But he still hadn't tested the limits of hope. In his 40s, Sean skied to the South Pole. Then he did the same thing when he skied to the North Pole. By now, he had completed the Explorer's Grand Slam. But there was still that one remaining impossible goal. You guessed it. Sean Swarner traveled to Hawaii and competed in the Ironman Triathlon World Championship, the only man ever to complete it with only one lung. This cancer survivor, who was read his last rites as a teenager, has redefined the meaning of the word impossible by being the only person in history to climb the 7 great summits of the world, ski to both North and South Poles, and complete the Ironman World Championship Triathlon, and to achieve all of these Herculean feats as a double cancer survivor on one lung. Amazing! Now Sean Swarner is helping other people discover the infinite possibilities of hope as one of the world's top 10 motivational speakers. Sean's amazing story is a reminder that God has given us 3 precious gifts that will remain after everything in this world is stripped away: faith, hope, and love. Are you facing a mountain that seems too big to climb? Then I would ask you to test the possibilities of hope. I promise you this: they are too infinite to let you down. Here's something I'd like you to remember. When the world and everything within you screams, "Give up!" hope will always whisper, "Try one more time." So do exactly that, dear friend. No situation is hopeless. If the God of infinite possibilities is standing ready to remove that mountain that looms before you right now. I don't know what your mountain is today. As we move toward Amazing Stories Unwrapped Overtime, I'd like to ask you to do something today. As we gather together, people from all over the world, all of us are facing different mountains. Maybe today, as you comment, you might just share with the rest of us some mountain you're climbing, something you've learned that's helped you to overcome that mountain. Jesus said, if you have the faith as small as a child's faith, you can say to that mountain, "Be removed to the sea," and it will be removed. What mountain are you facing? What faith principle have you learned that helped you overcome that mountain? What are the limitless possibilities of hope that you've tested in your life, the way Sean Swarner tested all those limits in his own life? So I'd like you to give me a shout out. I'd love to greet you as we go now to overtime, and I would love to hear your comments, answer your questions, and so as we're sitting here, I know that sweet voice that's always at the other end of the couch is going to show up and be with us. She's putting on her mic right now. She's getting ready. Hi, Joyce.
Hello, everyone.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine.
I know how she's doing because we've been hanging out all morning together. Joyce walked 4 miles with me yesterday. She's quite the trooper. Well, Joyce, you're looking good. You're feeling good. And I think we have a lot of good people here with us today.
I think we do. Of course, our team member Renee is here with us, and so is Chris Allen. So everybody say hi to them if you haven't.
Yeah, Renee's usually way up in Connecticut, but she and her husband Bruce flew down here through all the storms on the East Coast. They flew down here, and they're in sunny Naples with us today. She's just sitting across the room. It's fun to have Renee.
I have a watch party going on right now.
She has a watch party going on.
Well, welcome watch party.
Daily encouraging words.
The daily encouraging word. Bruce is here with us, so we're having a party here at our house today.
Let's shout out to Bill Barnett,
Hi, Bill. Good to have you with us.
Katie Brooks,
Hi, Katie Brooks.
Alan Martinez. I gotta
Yeah,
get that
Charlene,
right.
your mom's sitting right in the same room with us. By the way, Chris Allen is my partner in all of these wonderful trips that we go on all over the world. I hope that you can go with us on one of these trips to Israel or to Greece or to Europe or to Scotland. We go to wonderful places for 10 days at a time. We have the most wonderful times. You can actually go on my website, robertapeterson.org, and you can discover one of those trips and maybe sign up for one of them. But Chris is my partner. She does all the hard work, and I have all the fun with all the great people who come with us.
That's about how it goes, too.
Okay, Joyce.
Janice Kelly is
Hi,
watching.
Janice. Janice is going to be with us. In
On
fact,
a
in
trip?
2 weeks, Janice and her wonderful husband are going to be with us in Prague.
Jay Paul.
Hi, Jay Paul, all the way from India.
And
Good to have
Raj,
you.
I know, is on here, too.
Raj from Bangalore and his family join us almost every time now.
Bobby Lee.
Hi, Bobby Lee. Say hi to your
Lucas.
husband, Lucas.
Hi, Bobby Lee. Chris McDonald. Hey, Chris.
Hi, Chris. Good to have you with us, buddy.
Tabitha.
Tabitha. Great
Tabitha,
name.
Is she from the watch party?
Yes.
She was on a previous watch party. And
Previous
she's now
watch
joined
party.
on. Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay, and Raj.
Hi, Raj.
And so I think we've said everything, and I typed Sean Swarner's name in case anybody else wanted to look at what else he's done or how amazing this man truly is. But
Go on Google, and if you go on Google and just type in his name, you're going to be amazed. I only gave you just a microscopic part of his amazing story.
I have a question.
Okay.
If someone doesn't believe in God, where then does the strength come from?
Well, and some people think if you don't believe in God, you can't have hope. Not true. One of those people who don't believe in God, an implacable atheist, was Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking was not a believer in God, but he had amazing hope in himself, hope in what he could accomplish, and he accomplished amazing things. Wrote great books, uncovered the secrets of the universe. He lived to be 57 or 58 years old, way longer than anybody with Lou Gehrig's had ever lived before. But see, I just like to say this. I believe that there is a God, that this God created us with the amazing possibilities to do more than we could ever imagine that we could do. A world full of amazing possibilities. And the fact that Edward Hawkins or others didn't believe in the God who gave him the ability to do all that he did doesn't disprove the existence of God. I think, in fact, it proves the existence of God, and it proves the greatness and the mercy and the goodness of God, that he would allow even somebody who didn't believe in him to accomplish all that he created him to accomplish. And so, but I would say this, that if you have that belief in God, if you have that belief that there's something bigger than yourself, someone bigger than yourself who's there to help you through things that are way bigger than you can accomplish, then I think you're farther ahead. As I said before, if you have a big God behind you, an infinite God behind you, then nothing in front of you can be too big to move with his help.
Rebecca Ryan has joined us, and
Hi, Rebecca.
I hope you're doing better after your dog passed away. We've been praying for you.
I'm one of these.
She has a new puppy.
She has a
Oh,
new puppy.
good.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I'm one of those people.
Named yet.
I'm one of those people, Renee, who believe that Renee's sitting across from me now. That just believe that all puppies and cats go to heaven. I'm a little more sure about puppies than I am cats. That's for Chris's benefit. Chris Allen loves cats, and
I'm allergic to cats.
I know.
I love cats. I love rats too.
The world can be divided into cat and dog people. Any other questions or comments from people
You
about
know
the
what?
mountains?
I don't
Actually,
really.
well, I have someone from the watch party.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
Lisa Louiso Goodman, and she wants to know, do you believe in heaven and hell?
Do I believe? I believe, and yes, I do. I believe there's an afterlife, and I believe there's a place where we go. Those who put our trust in God, and you know, I believe that two things. I believe that we're all going to die, no doubt about it, unless Jesus comes first. We're all going to die, and after that, I believe that we will give an account for our life, and I believe that's what gives us hope. We have hope when a loved one passes away that this is not the end. And I think it's a frightening possibility, frankly, to say that there is no afterlife. It was Joseph Stalin who, when asked about the millions of people that he killed somewhere around 20 million people, said, I don't believe that we're any more than just a product of evolution that he believed passionately in, Darwinian evolution. He said, we're no more than fertilizer. And so he said, when I kill people, I'm just putting fertilizer back in the earth. There's nothing after earth. And so that's a frightening possibility.
Actually, I apologize. The actual question Lisa wanted to clarify, she knows that you believe in heaven, but what about Stephen Hawking? Because he was an atheist, will he go to heaven or hell?
Oh boy, you know, I'm glad I'm answering this to a small audience, but let me tell you this. I believe this. I believe I am not the one to determine where Stephen Hawking is after life and death. Nobody wants me to be God. My wife for sure can tell you that I would make a bad God. And so I'm not the person who decides, and none of us can decide. I know this, that personally, I believe that God has made a way for me to go to heaven, and that way is through his son, Jesus Christ. And I believe that. And so I know where I'm going to be, and I think we should all think about what happens after death and whether we're prepared for death and what happens after death. But frankly, none of us have a right ever to make a determination about another human being. My Savior Jesus said, judge not lest you be judged. There's only one judge, and I'm not him, and the whole world should be thankful for that.
That's a good one.
I don't have any more questions that I see from the people that are on here with us right now.
Yeah, people are just saying hello and all. But Bob, I guess I want to talk to you a little bit about hope, because I know in my own life I've had some pretty traumatic things happen. And my faith hasn't always taken me to places that other people, rely on it. But thankfully, I do have more faith now than I ever have. But I also believe that when we help other people during our time of need, that it does something to our psyche. It does.
Yes.
Does it not?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. In fact, when I get discouraged, when I get down, when I begin to lose hope, when I begin to want to curl up in a fetal ball, which we all want to sometimes, the best thing I do, the best way I can begin to look outward and upward and onward is when I begin to reach out to other people who are going through difficult times. And oftentimes what I discover is that my situation isn't so bad after all. I know that in the years past, when I did a lot of marriage counseling with people, oftentimes I was not happy with my own marriage, and my wife wasn't happy with me. We might have been having a fight, or we might have been going through those times you go through when you're married and things aren't where you want them to be. And so I'd go counsel somebody else, and I'd come home oftentimes, I'd throw my arms around Joyce and hug her and say, wow, you're pretty good. You can't believe the folks I was just with. And so I think. Yeah, so what I'm saying is that sometimes when we're really down, we go help somebody else, we really realize things aren't so bad for us after all. And so, Renee, that's a great point as far as grabbing hold of hope. How do you get hope when you're down? How do you get hopeless? When I get down, one of the ways I get hope is I start looking back over my life to all the other times I was hopeless, when I thought there was no future, I wasn't going to make it, and I realized I'm still here. The worst case scenarios didn't happen. I've discovered that 90% of the stuff I worry about never comes true. It's mostly wasted worry. And so that's what I try to do. I try to remember when things were bad and how God saw me through, how other people helped me through, how I was able to get up and battle through it all. And I love the fact that, and I always remember this, that I have someone who promised me that he would never leave or forsake me, that he would be with me always to the end of the earth. And that's what keeps me going. Well, listen, it's been good. Every time I'm ready to wrap up, Joyce raises her finger.
I have just one more person. J. Paul wanted us to welcome, and I hope I say this okay. Well, I've got two people now. J. Paul wants us to welcome Dr. Revathi or Rev Selwyn.
Hi there. It's good to have you here.
I'm not sure where she's from, probably India.
Sounds Indian to me.
Yes, and Dory Detler is on, her
bestie.
best friend.
Oh, Dory Detley. Well, Renee's right here. Renee's so excited. She can hardly wait to get out and jump in the pool. She wants to party, and so we're ready to do that. It's good to have everybody coming from India. You know, I've been in India several times. It's one of my favorite places in the entire world. And whenever I get discouraged, sometimes I think of the people I've met in India who are Dalit, outcast people of the lowest caste, people who live in hovels, who find their food and their sustenance on garbage heaps. And sometimes when I go there and I see that, and yet I see the joy in people, I see the happiness in people who have very little, I realize as an American that I let way too many things get me down, and I'm not grateful enough for everything that I do have.
We have another person that signed on, and his name is Bob Stefani.
Hi, Bob Stefani.
And he's in Canada.
Hi, from Canada. We love to have our Canadians up north.
And he is Dory's mother-in-law's cousin.
Well,
Oh,
good.
okay.
Dory's mother-in-law's cousin. That's a mouthful. Good to have you with us. And I love the Canadians. I was raised on Orcas Island, which was just south of Victoria, and spent a lot of time in Canada. And so good to have the Canadian with us, our friends to the north.
I think that's it.
I think that's it. Well, don't want to miss Thursday. I'm going to tell, I try to tell an amazing story every time we're together, but the story Thursday, I promise you, is so amazing you wouldn't believe it if it weren't true. And so I hope you'll come for another inspiring time on Amazing Stories Wrapped Up. God bless.